Well, meteorites come in May, November. Dr. Lee has a plan to make a damn difference if they hit. It doesn't make no difference whether you're in a university or you're in a movie or you're in a church or a mosque. They ain't going to fall inside the earth. They ain't going to make no difference. The meteorite hits the planet Earth. It's going to be about where they hit, how much damage they do, and what people know how to survive under those kind of conditions. That's what's important. And what marketers have not been studying, they've been studying the wrong thing. They have not been studying survival tactics. Good point. Let's take that point. Let's take that point. Let me just show you something. Take that point, okay? You with me? He says, I'm the only one on this planet. I know, I'm not going away with you. I just want to stop at the word planet. I'm the only one on this planet. What's the name of it? Right? Why? No. I don't want you to come out. I want the heavens. Why is it Earth? Why is it called Earth? What does Earth mean? Huh? Earth means what? No, it doesn't. They don't give you a definition. They don't give you a definition of the word Earth in the English dictionary. They take from Old English, Old French, from Latin. They even put your sound Earth, Earth, but they don't give you a reading of it. They don't give you a reading. Why not? They might know. Well, why don't they want you to know the truth? And then what? But see, when I pass it on to you, and it awakens something in your head, stirred or self-exposed, then it's like, gee, you leave me and you gotta go check it out. And the Bible man that says, don't believe me. Check it out. What I really mean by that is don't believe anybody. What don't believe me is things I can check out. Don't believe anybody. No, Shabazz, prove it. Prove to me that there's a tribe called Shabazz. Show me anywhere other than their lessons or their book where it doesn't exist. Anywhere. And you say Shabazz in the book of Israel, I'm the one that can go with them there. They didn't know that until they got said it years ago. You understand what I'm saying? And then 20 years later, people in the name of Islam quote the information that I put out back in the 30s, and you think they knew it. And I give information to you that nobody else will give you. I say things, I use words purposely, like overstanding. So that when someone says it, you'll know it came from me and nobody else. I'm not real talking reality. But still, I'm being classified with men that ain't saying nothing new. Every now and then, you get fools get started and say, well, man, you ain't saying nothing that I can't read somewhere else. I say, really? Let me say something you can't read someplace else. All right? What's the word aqua mean? Aqua. Aqua means water. What's the word aqua? What's aquamarine? You know, it's a color. And, right, what's the last part of the word? What's Marina? Aquamarine, blue water. All right. What's the word aquarium? Tank of water. Okay, I'll give you that. What resides in an aquarium? Aquatic. You know the word aquatic? Fish, sea creatures? Okay. Now think now, and I ain't gonna hold you long. And think about this. You wouldn't put a chicken in an aquarium. No, I'm dead serious. I'm serious. You would not put a chicken inside an aquarium. What happened? The only type of creatures you would put in an aquarium are creatures that are suited for. Yes. Now, if you took and put in an aquarium some dry land surface, maybe 2 spots or 3 spots of surface, then there's certain other type of reptilian creatures that you can put in that water, because the certain reptilians, they can stay merged underwater indefinitely, and then others have to come out periodically, like salamanders, crocodiles, lizards, frogs, turtles, and turtles on land for a little while, but they must go back in before they dehydrate and die. Is that correct? And introduce the world to this reality. Alright? This is not the standard you're on. This is an aquarium. You're on an aquarium. And this aquarium has far less surface than it has water. Don't go far. created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was what? Was without form, and void and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And as you analyze these words, you get a reading of void, boho, toho, darkness, kosher, upon the face, meaning of the deep, sea. So the planet was dark. There was no light yet. For the third verse, he says, let there be light. The planet was dark. And there was no land, because he didn't say that the land appeared yet. The planet was all dark. And without atmosphere of darkness, there was no form. There was no shape. There was no monument, no mountain, no hills, nothing but massive water. Deep water. You hear me? And it says that the Spirit of God, and it says move. So if you look it up, you find the word hovering over the Semen over the surface, the surface of the water. Let me finish. So it appears that according to the Bible, Genesis 1, 2, and 3, that this place, the blue planet, was all water. And there was no light. It was void. And it was dark. And the water was extremely deep. No human being could live there. You hear me? Alright. And it says God, and the word they use there is Elohim. One word they grafted, of course, from the middle or Anunnaki or the Nechiru of Egypt. Hovered. They hovered there above the water. This is what they got recorded. Then they said, let there be light. And there was light. And Elohim thought his light was good. Light performed, it was told. It was cooperating. The word good is not in there. The word was told. It was agreeable. It cooperated. So there was a purpose for making the light from. You hear me? And that light was to create heat. And that heat was to create what? Vapor. Create steam so that the water could rise up. And as the water began to rise up, and the land mass that was beneath the water started to come up and form, and the void was on, and the darkness was on, and the Spirit of the Lord covered. You follow? The point I'm making is, if you were a caring God, Elohim, Yahweh, Theos, Allah, whoever, and you created a creature, and you were going to put that creature in an environment, would you put a chicken in an aquarium? No. Would you put a fish in the desert? No. And you would know what type of creature they are by where they are placed on earth. So if God placed man on the planet you're calling Earth, you hear me? And the planet you're calling Earth is more water than Earth. And this man that you planted on Earth, we know scientifically that they have gills because you breathe under the water in the sack. We know you had a tail because you were on a tap hole. We know these things. When the water broke, you came into the dry land. You were in the womb of the mother in water and was breathing and surviving there. Yeah? So God took what type of creature and placed him on this planet? Say it again. Aquatic. So, what kind of creature is man really? If you don't accept that man is a reptilian, you may not like to lay it down. If you don't accept that you are a reptilian, then you'll have to Kids will pick a gun up and shoot them kids, without the emotions of it. They have to be taught what they did. Your natural instinct is not inclined towards being helpful, cooperative, and good with each other. Your natural instinct is inclined towards doing each other harm. Is you follow that? When kids interfered with that evolutionary stage of this dinosaur type of man, they were trying to put in agreeableness. And when the first group of them saw that all and every imagination of this person or thing was evil continuously, they thought to kill him. So they didn't want to kill the original reptilian man or dinosaur man because they wouldn't use water. They did. They wanted to kill the land man, the human. And that's why they flooded the earth as opposed to burning the earth or dehydrating the earth like they're going through now. And only people who survive, or creatures that survive, or creatures that died in the water. So the flood didn't kill the reptilians. They live on. And if Cain is a real story, and Cain went to the land of Nod, and the land of Nod were not descendants from Seth and Enos as humans. They were reptilians. And Cain took a wife from amongst them and married a reptilian woman and had part reptilian and part human children. A seed of Satan, a serpent seed that looked like human beings, that dwell amongst us, walk with you every day. They came down, as you read, I think in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, they came down, just like they said, for every one of her seed, there'll be, so for every one of you sitting here, if you're not the reptilian, the person next to you might think, when you were born, a reptilian was born. You gotta go back and read it again, it was written. It's written enmity between her seed and the serpent seed. And they use the word zilach in Hebrew, which is seed, or sperm cell. You understand? To reiterate it in your mind phonetically, not graphically, not carving, not the letter, phonetically, the tone. They refer to it as semen. And you need semen to germinate. Now you haven't heard that before. So let's clarify and say it next week and tell you that if for some followers sitting there, that's still going to take that back. You need semen to germinate. Right? So woman must be the land creature. Wait a minute. But she has the chaotic water in her system. Because, as I said earlier, chaos started when the semen was released in her body. And all of these semen raced for that ovum. And it was the one that got inside and closed started the germination of the genetic stumbling process. But the woman, being a different creature than the man, her body naturally set out to what? To destroy, reject that alien semen. That's the scientific fact. But her chemistry was programmed that she would produce, being part of killing herself, would produce a serum that would protect the child. If in a womb, it breeds more reptilians. Well, one woman. So when you go back and analyze this is not the planet Earth. It became known as the planet Earth because the word Earth, Hebrew Torah uses the word Eris. You follow that? The Quran uses the word Arab. And the Greek uses the word Gi. Gi as we know, is a Sumerian or Akkadian or Chaldean word for key, from which they get the word geometry, geology, to measure Earth, to study the Earth. G is the word they're using for Earth when they use the word geometry. When they use geology, they're using G. They're using a Sumerian word. They don't use Earth. Now, modern day professors sometimes say Earthology. They know they got in, but even then, beings who came here from a planet in the Cyrus or Sirius star constellation, which is called Semen in ancient Egypt, or Ilium to others, who came here, came from a planet where there was soil, where they walked around on the ground. You hear me? And they had to hover. They had to hover above the water until they can prepare a planet for them to step down on it. Just like they did with Noah. In the Noah or Noah, or with the fish of the story, it's showing you again. That's why you read it, you see that all the makings of the Adam story. That they were in the boat, had to check to make sure dry land came so they could come back out. Otherwise they would step out the boat and drown. They were telling you the same story about being on the ride. You hear me? That they had to come and create the environment so that they can step down off the track on dry land. When they stepped down onto this dry land, they called it Adama. Adama. And that's the word for ground. Adama. When they set up their colonies, they called this place Iridu. A home away from home. And Iridu, and earth was bred out of that meaning. Earth, they know when they say it, is a Sumerian term used by beings who are saying by saying it, this is a home away from home. I don't really stay here. I came here for the Adama Project. And that is to feed with reptilians and breed a hybrid. A fishman or a seaman. You hear me? Now, I'm going to let you take your part, but it's more funny. Because I'm taking you to a level of information that you need to know for the same time. It may not be important. You need to know the nature. Follow? You need to know who you really are and what you're capable of doing, and also what you're able to do. You are able to survive underwater. You must know this. As long as they keep thinking you're not able to do that, you will not be able to do that. You hear me? Did you follow me thus far? Here's add some inference. Because many times people throw this at me. I've been telling y'all for years. Simply, I've come what? If you learn to want what I really have to give you, and I'm starting to give you what I really have to give you, and you've been brought up to a level where you can begin to grasp. Those beings responsible for that breeding are called alchemists in your language. Alchemist. From which the word chemistry comes. Okay? And the word ham, where they get the word ham in the Bible, comes from chemistry. Also, misinformed people speak of Egypt, which is Tama Re, as ham or Khemet, a derivative of ham. And then they speak of the setting, the first temple in Luxor, as they call it, where some laboratory experiments were going on with genes and chemistry. And some people were bred. I'll be there in a minute. When you get to Genesis 9:25, when you start talking about Adam, giving birth to Cain, you're talking about Ham, alchemist, chemist, symbolically as Ham was a part of a three-part triad chemical experiment. You follow that? Always three-part triad. And, Greg, now let me ask you a question. Another level. This planet, as you call it, Earth, is a melanite planet. Everything on the planet has what? And melanin produces color, pigment. Say it again, Doc. This planet is a melanite planet. Everything on this planet has melanin, but everything on this planet has color. You with me? There's no such thing as a white dove. There's no such thing as a polar bear. There's no such thing as a white pig. There's no such thing as a white Palomino horse. There's no such thing as a white goat. All of these are defective genes. Alien genes. Genes not prepared to live beneath the sun and on the earth. This goes back a while. Again, if a loving, intelligent God was responsible for placing people and everything on the planet and created an environment for people on the planet, which consists of a sun that gives off gamma and ultraviolet rays, and a planet Earth, and a sphere, seven, and placed you within it, then if he cared about you, you should be able to live within that environment. And it should not attack you and give you cancer. However, if you are an alien and don't belong beneath the sun and on the earth, because the rays of it will attack your body and produce a cancer that will literally mean to dissipate you, to evacuate you, to consume you. You understand? And you really don't belong here. You understand? But if your purpose is to alter the ecology of the planet, this is going to be silly. You don't catch it. By not allowing yourself to be eaten and interfering with the chain of life, because from Genesis Homo to Homo erectus, being stepped in and tampering with the genes from another star constellation and created a new zero time reference for human beings who were in an evolutionary chain from a dinosaur or an algae and an amoeba and a fungi who was already on an evolutionary chain, was being stepped in, interfered, tampering with the genes and produced a hybrid called Homo sapiens. The gap in time through the whole cycle of existence, the whole chain of life form. All animals are confused now. All growth is corrupted now. Because being stepped in a massive living organism called planet, Earth as you call it, which is all water time, remove the water before its proper time, brought out dry land, started feeding with reptilian beings, brought ape-like creatures from the Sirius star. That's why they're called Cyrus. Cyrus is in here. That's why they do it. That's the same thing as Esau, like I said, or Mount Seir. You look it up, you find troglodytes and Gary mixed. Mix them in and you do a reptile from here. That's why when you look back at the ancient Egyptians, there's no hair. They wore wigs and put on hair. If you went to Africa, you'll find most Africans don't have no hair on their body. Most Orientals don't have no hair on their body. But they didn't have that original mixture, that interference. We have a variety of different people here. People here. You have people that are mixed reptilians and apes. Some with a domestic type of ape called a gibbon. And another with a ferocious type of ape called a baboon. Or an orangutan, who's aggressive, omnivorous. Then later on, down the line, when these or whole, then there's a destruction, there's a disruption, there's a mistake, and everybody else reads wrong. Everybody starts reading wrong because we're one massive whole thing. The evolutionary stage from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens would have been millions of years. They pulled out millions of years of time and knitted up time. You follow that? Now, that's why we have the problem we're having now. Because as the cycle comes back around from zero reference, we're early ahead of ourselves. So beings, crazy now, beings from thousands of years ahead are coming back here trying to fix the genetic defect. These beings are what you are going to look like in the future with the way the planet is moving. Namely, if the planet begins to ice melt and the planet floods and people have to go beneath the water on days and they don't have exposure to the sun and the melanin starts to die, if you stick your hand in the water or stay in a tub for a long time where certain portions of the skin live up to air, you know the reason why you have those wrinkles in your hand when you stay in a tub too long is because it's getting buoyancy for you to float. In other words, air pockets for you to swim. That's why certain parts are up and certain parts are down. It's a scientific fact, and that's it. You keep your hand in too long, the color will leave your hand. It's like when you put a Band-Aid on your hand, and keep the Band-Aid on too long, the melanin is gone, you get a pale gray like a gray. Alright? If you stare at the sun too long, your eyes change. And you lose the brown or the hazel, and your eyes become one massive black, your pupils dilate. It becomes one massive black thing. The beings that come here, that's how your eyes look. That's how far in the future they come from. Back here. To try to warn you, to bring you up to date to what's going on. They're called the graves. They're taking the weaker genes amongst you, the defective genes, the albinos, and experiment with them so they don't have to experiment on you. As I said many times, your grandfather was a bigger man than your great-grandfather wore 44. This gap when you was a kid, you put his gap on and hit the ground. You may have a husband who weighs a 40. You guys see that muscle. And I always make fun because second thing is the new generation of men, they wear these pants down there, they got these little skinny legs. You see them on the videos, they show it all kinds of, they got these bony skinny legs, and I'm just like, what's that? Y'all might not know this, but I'm a scientist, so I'm looking at human beings scientifically going, why have I never seen them with that skin in my life? What happened? Your grandfather was like that. They wore 12, 13 size shoes, 14, 15. So now if you base that evolution within the last 2 generations on 4 generations or even up to 1,000, you will be down to 4 feet tall. People are smaller than people here. In the bed. They're all big. People are smaller. You don't hear all these men 6 foot 5 no more. The average man walking around is 5 foot something now. Anderson was 5 foot 6. So it's not like you just don't forward. Genetically coming back. And you're starting to get smaller. And children's eyes are getting bigger. You see it yourself and brighter. And their craniums are getting larger. Here's got these craniums and I don't understand you have some big ass head shit on it. And look at how they do not have control of it. They do not have any plans for it. They're not able to prevent it. Where are you going? 1,000 years from now, you'll be 4 feet tall with gray skin, big eyes, and no ears. Because as they increase the amount of machinery that they're making for industry, what happens? The eardrums go. Preventing mutation means people's hairs get smaller. You know what I mean? Look at people on television from old black and white movies and see how big their ears are. They got ears this big. They talk and they clap. It's real. I mean, some of your grandfathers had ears out with hair coming out of human body, you in particular, not you per se, but you as a people, comes through our nostrils. We breathe in the bacteria that shapes and helps shape the womb of the earth creature and transform it from a sea creature to a earth resident in the womb. It's coming through your nostrils. That's why men don't understand why pregnant women have so much nasal trouble. Because the baby is being breathed in. See, God said, I breathed into their nostrils and you became a living soul. The Bible says that people are formed in the womb through the nostrils. That's what the Bible says. Their scientists won't touch it, so they can't elaborate on it. The religious men can't see it because they're not educated enough. If you read your scripture, it says, through your nostrils, I breathed my breath and you became a living soul. So the human body is nothing but bacteria pulled out of the environment that creates a magnetic body which has a crack in it, and it's called skin. And it falls off, it dies, and new skin is concrete. If you put stake your arm with a razor blade, just scrape it and put it on and look under the microphone glass and see living things. You're a living organism holding from the tip of your skin all the way down to your bones. And another thing about it, it's not even as solid as it's likely to be. You can be seen right through. If I had a piece of paper, I don't know, alright, go ahead, you figure it out. I had a piece of paper and I held it up. And I held it up there at light. You see the light too. Right? Now, if I were to put a magnifier, a telescope in front of it, and that magnifying telescope, eventually I'd be all the way to the paper, the surface. And then I would see where the wood was pressed together and held together by some type of glue. If I keep magnifying, I'll see where the wood interlocks. If I keep magnifying, I'll actually see the small spaces in between. And if I keep magnifying, I'll look straight through a piece of paper. But if I point back and look at it, it looks solid. Right? Then you do it solid. Now, people are the same thing. You're a bunch of cells that are magnetically being held together. Understand? And can be seen right through with a high enough amplification of, when you're not an amplification of section to look like a super. You are not as solid as you think you are, just like a piece of paper is. Now, the problem would be that the body is made up of a variety of different density levels. Density just means substance. Density levels. Things vibrating at different moods. So the lymphatic system, which is the water system, the bones, the skin, are all different degrees of matter. But they're vibrating at a different rate. So they're fairly different when actually they are the same thing. But they had to be weighted in order to occupy the same space at the same time. You understand that? Weighted. They had to give it a different vibrational rate because no two things vibrating at the same speed at the same time can occupy the same space. Space that'll crash and that is closed. So you're composed of one form of thing, but vibrating at a different mood, like different energies. One needs to move this fast, and one needs to between it so it don't bother. One is moving, one is kind of slower, the other one is moving slower or faster. And the faster, the less dense. The slower, the more protective, the more I can reset it. Reset, I can see it, again. This is why when you see a person in a car and they're watching things go by, what they're doing is they're respecting. They're not just respecting. Respecting the thing. They're not just respecting, they're not respecting things. They're respecting, that's why your eyes go. Watch anybody's eyes in a moving vehicle, eyes are doing the thing. You're trying to watch 1 and 2 at the same time. Because you need 1 and 2 to make a whole. You hear what I'm saying? Hello? No. What is happening is, you understand ecology, I've explained this before. You understand ecology, that's your mind. Industry, right, is responsible for putting a lot of dust in the world. Right? equate with you, eventually you're going to start doing it. So when people are talking, you're going to start taking it apart. And then words will no longer mean nothing. It'll be emotion. Emotion will no longer be expression. The expression and emotion together will start to interpret what a person really feels. And that's why the dog does not speak English, but he knows when you say sound. And you can go from here to China, and you can meet a dog in China, you can say, sit down, tone in your voice. He'll pick up the vibration and emotion and know it's a force or expression that he must respond to. Even when a dog sets out to attack you, you stand at first. I'm going to stop, and dog stop. Then he shows the fact that you really scared because adrenaline produces the sound. And then they're scared, you're mad. I mean, they're walking. I'm telling you that to something. Don't get too far. You're mad. You walking along, and so you don't get in the mood. The dog goes. Dog is in the wrong mood. Dog picks that up. And no, I might get an accident. That's what this guy said. I'll wait till the next day. I'll wait till you do the mood. All right. The dust particles in the air, they're coming out through the exhaust. As I said, this time the result of pissing the earth are putting final pieces of metal in the air. Do they notice? Yes, they do. Does it affect them inside and affect us? No. Because we breathe out our nose. We breathe, I shouldn't say out of our nose, we breathe through our nose. When 75% of the Caucasian population don't, they breathe out their mouth. You find it early in the morning as you get in a public facility like the same with them, before your lungs can be adjusted, and they'll be like this. You see, you have to feel that reflex. They breathe out of their mouth. And they will come up in your face like this, and start to breathe with you. This is why they grab you, and they hold your hand, and they pull you real close. You're like, oh, that's my face. They're too close to comfort. And start to breathe. The same way a dog does. The same way a cat does. A cat will climb up in your face and stretch you to breathe. You know why they do that? Because their sense of smell is how they taste. And they can smell what you've eaten right out of the nose as you breathe. Now, look at this. They would tell you, if you're going to the woods to hunt, make sure that you don't have to go to the bathroom because a buck, which is a male deer, can smell the foul in your system. He can know that you are a human being by the kind of urine that's created in your system and can smell you 100 or 200 yards away. A deer, you know, animals smell human. They don't only listen for the fact that the only creature walking through the woods on two legs is you. Think about that. The only creature that has to move the bushes are you. So they can listen. And they hear that. They hear it say, oh, that's a human being coming. But they don't hear a 4-foot and a streamlined body that makes it possible for a deer to walk through the bushes without having to move things. It's not a reaction. You hear me? I just think that dropped it on to something handy when you have to survive. We'll worry. The dust particles in the air, final metal, and microwaves and FM frequencies are charging these final pieces of metal in the air and magnetizing them. You are breathing them into your bloodstream, taking in little magnets, and they attach to the cells in the body and give you breast cancer, tumors, prostate cancer, and the like. You're being electrified. That electricity, with all that metal, sometimes vibrates, and you hear buzzing in your head like a radio. Sometimes it overheats, and your whole body is so hot it's like it's going to explode. You feel this like it's going to blow up. That's it. You follow? That's when you have so much of that metal in your body, and I am, that you can actually taste the metal in your mouth. And it's magnetized and it's going to attack the cells in your body and create cancer. They got to make you say something, talk for a little while, and then find your note. And then tell you this is your note. Henceforward, talk in that note. Keep your body there soul. Only way you can demagnetize something is by tongue. And these signals, it's on a tape. They'll tell you, keep it away from a magnet. If you have a magnet, it's going to raise all the signals on your tape. You heard that before. If you send to a studio, you can say erase, the man will take a magnet, plug it in, go over the tape, and you erase it. You have to have that done to you. The electric current from out of the sun is the only thing in the civil healer that can do it. You understand? You gotta find your tone. Everybody here, your body, the size of your body, your lungs, your throat, your wallet, everything about your whole anatomy is creating a tone. One of the tones in an 8-note octave. You're there. And someone has to find that for you who knows what they're doing. Don't play with it now. They don't have no rock rolls out their piano. They got nothing to do with being a good keyboard player. They got nothing to do with it. It has to do with knowing the tone. That's why I can say, and his own name is tone, he says. If I was here, and the person didn't know what that meant, then he damn sure ain't going to help him. Don't listen to him now. I said it tonight. He's going to say, oh, now I know what it is. You have to learn your tone, your body, and you learn to talk in that tone. And you learn to chant in that tone. You learn to bring your body down to a certain wavelength on that tone, or to be soothing to you. When you go to the Marina for the alignment ceremony, right? And you stand there and you're doing Om on that tone. With inside that Om sound coming out the tournament. The reason why you hear harmonic and unison simultaneously is because all the sound in that 8 octaves, right? When you have 1 octave, 8 notes is there, and you're one of them. When you start to learn to chant all that tone, you will pull your body to vibrate in that frequency with all the other people that are there, and you start to send currents out that will demagnetize you and realign you with the universe. The natural are sending back futuristic being of yourself that they help in. Yeah. Called waves. Remind me of that. Yeah. And they don't have this in their Bible the way it needs to be written. And they're afraid. So they got to turn me into the cult leader, the suicide cult, and all that crazy crap, so you say, oh, I'm not going to listen to them. When you start here tonight, you went to another level, there's Reverend Pork Chop and Pastor Chicken Wing couldn't take the dog man to die around the world. And there's a level where you can go and investigate this and see how it relates to you and plan for the future. Telling you that Jesus is coming in the confession that Jesus left. Let me say that one more time. To keep preaching about Jesus coming is a confession that he left. And I would like to ask you why he left us in this state. Let me ask you before you get mad. I'm not preaching get mad before you think. Let me ask you. That you created the devil and gave him the power to do his judgment and didn't give me the power to combat the devil, and you have the power to combat the devil,